Never mind what you do with it, the importance of the recognition of what is being said is the imperative. It's crucial, isn't it? That you at least hear what is being said. And then, that's entirely up to you what you do with it. But if you heard it once, then you cannot not have been released into the process that it was portrayed in the movie last night. Right? Francis said we watched Brother, Sun, Sister, Moon.
Wow.
And it's a beautifully powerful portrayal of an individual who goes, this is insanity and I don't want to have anything to do with it. And I want to be free. Why can't I be free like the birds? Why can't I be free like the birds? Why can't I? You look up into the sky and you see the stars and the universe. So why can I not travel? Why can I not discover the universe? Because one thing's for sure, as a body, you never can. Right? Why can't I be happy? Why can't I do nothing? Why can I not do nothing but to be free and to be happy, like the birds, like the flowers, like the butterflies? Right? That's a good question, because in your heart you are free, and you know that if you're not free, then you're not happy and you're not being yourself. All right? And then God's will for you is the will that He shares with the birds and the bees, who are happy. They don't work. They don't go down the mine, right? But they're perfectly taken care of. So why would you not want to throw your clothes off and run off into the woods and the fields and go, I'm free. I'm free to be who God created me to be. Are you free to be as God created you to be?
Yes.
Yeah. What's stopping you from being free to take your clothes off and run down the field? Huh? The necessity to hear the instruction, obviously, and then you can be free. So that's all. This is the instructional necessity to hear what Jesus has given to you because you asked for the help that you need in order to bring this about within yourself. Right? Within one birth-death cycle. Because next week you're going to wake up and you're going to be dead again. You don't really have long. You know, how long do you have? How long is a human span? It's a blink of an eye. It's a blink of an eye. It's already over in that sense. So the time that you believe that you have, if you can hear the Course in Miracles as the word of Jesus, as what it is, you can save yourself an immeasurable amount of time. And by saving yourself time, save yourself suffering. And if you save yourself suffering and discover the freedom of being who you are in the mind of God, you will save the world suffering. Save every sleeping mind the time, the suffering, the guilt, the pain. That is the condition in which the world exists. That's all. So that was a great movie because he divests himself of all his human associations. He rejected his family and his father. He gave him his clothes back and walked out of the town. Walked out of the human hierarchy of corruption. And he was free. And they fixed up a little church, and all his friends, one by one, they came, well, what the hell are you doing? We've heard you've gone mad. And when they saw how happy he was, and he was simple, and he had a true purpose, and that it included everyone was an equal in the house of God, they go, well, maybe he's actually onto something here. And as they started to participate, they found a joy that they could never find in the lifestyle that they had. And then the Pope heard about it, and he went to visit the Pope. It's a beautiful story, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the Pope was the Pope. There he was in all his glory on his high throne, up the steps with little courtiers, and it's all political, and there's people being killed in the name of Jesus, and wars being raged in the name of God through the Pope's dictates. And he comes down, he takes off his robe, and what does he do? Does he kiss his feet? He bows down and kisses his feet, and he says, "Here we are in the house of so-called God in all our jewel-encrusted glory, and you have come and you have humbled us. Yeah. God be with you. You go with my blessings." And it was a lovely scene. That's what a very nice scene, isn't it? There was a moment of humility before he put his robe back on and went back up the stairs to his throne. He resumed his power play of being a politician or an emperor in the empire of the denial of the message of Jesus Christ, which is what the Vatican represents, isn't it? Huh? Ever since the Nicene Creed, we've been persecuting everyone who's had an experience of the truth, whether you call it a Gnostic or a heretic, it doesn't matter. We set up the Spanish Inquisition. If you don't believe absolutely the Catechism of the Holy Roman Apostolic Church, then we'll torture you until you confess. And if you confess, then we'll have to kill you. Right? We'll give you a chance to recant, but if you don't, then, and thousands, tens of thousands were burned at the stake and tortured and killed in the name of Jesus Christ, in the name of the church. Wow. In the name of Jesus Christ. But Jesus Christ is still here, waiting for you to come to your senses and ask for the help that you need, and saying, shit, I've been wrong. I've been wrong about everything. I've been wrong. Finally, you recognize the one thing you've been wrong about is yourself. That you've been wrong about yourself, and that God is ready to restore to your mind the recognition of who you are as He knows you, not as you made yourself. And that's what we call a miracle, isn't it? The possibility of that is contained in our association. And the reason we're meeting here this morning is because that's become a very immediate self-discovery that you are determined to find in your own mind. Otherwise, what are you doing here? Huh? You're determined to find that, I hope. And you've come in here voluntarily with an energetic factor of desire to divest yourself of your own insanity, of your own mistaken beliefs about yourself, the idea that you have a past, that you have a self that can be believed and can be seen and can observe other selves and can exchange identities and establish a space and a distance between yourself and the other guy. You come in here with a willingness to say, no, that's not true. That I am the light of heaven, present here and now, with the power and the light to bring healing, forgiveness, atonement, salvation to myself and to my brother by the simple act, the courageously simple act of complete forgiveness. That's the lesson, isn't it? The only single lesson required for you to discover that you are St. Francis. Whoever awakens, there's a single experience that we share. There's a single mind that when you awaken to that, you recognize that that is the mind of the Son of God, that is a singular mind that we share. When you come into that, you become the answer to the problem of the world. You are the answer to the problem of the world. But until you know that, you are the problem of the world. So the imperative is to come into that so that you can bring Jesus back in a moment of glory and save yourself and save the world by saving yourself. And that's a miracle. That's the miracle that you came to give and to be. And there is no other reason for you to be here, and you know that. So the imperative is to look at yourself and to ask the only question that you ever need to ask, which is, what is my Father's will for me? Is that the only question you need to ask? The only question you ever need to ask is, what is my Father's will for me? Not what do I want? What is my Father's will for me? And if you are asking this question sincerely, you will hear the answer. You cannot not. Because God is waiting for you to ask the question, because He's already answered it, and the answer will be some form of, be you perfect as myself. Be ye therefore perfect as I am, because you are my Son, and I have created you perfect as I am. You have nothing to say about that. You have absolutely nothing to say about that. And the less you have to say about it, the more you can realize that for yourself as a direct experience of, we can say, revelation. But it's that experience is contained in every miracle, in every act of healing, in every smile, in every moment of joy that you share with your brother. That be you therefore perfect experience is what you came to remember. And until you remember that, you will be bound by your own inventions. You will be a victim of your own creation, won't you? So that's a miracle. The miracle is that recognition. I promise you that I'm going home. I'm not staying here. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. There's nothing here. Why would you want to stay in a place where there is nothing? If there is nothing, if you realize there's nothing here, you cannot stay. In fact, you're not even here. And I'm not here. But I appear to be here for a moment because I've accepted for myself that I have no other reason to be here except to perform a function given to me by my Father, to demonstrate in a moment of time the will of God. The will of God, who loves you with the Father's love, wants you to hear His love for you, wants you to receive that, and wants you to hear the instructional nature of what will free you from your determination to be something that you are not. Right? His love for you cannot change your mind for you, but it can only offer you the certainty of yourself and the momentary recognition that nothing you believe, nothing that you made is true in the light of the perfection of mind which you share with God. So I don't have any reason to be here except for to share an instant of joy in self-recognition. We have no use for this other than to bring this self-recognition about. Right? And that self-recognition is not a difficult thing, it's just entirely different. It just has nothing to do with the learned nature of thinking that you have imbued within yourself. It's the laying down of your judgmental objectivity that there is actually someone out there that you can have thoughts about, and the recognition, the miracle is a change of mind, isn't it? It's the change of the nature of your thinking. And the change of your nature of your thinking is that you are whole and complete, and you have only one need, which is to give that. Is to give who you are, right? Because giving who you are is sharing the joy of knowing that you are one with God. Isn't it? Huh? So you came here to share your joy with me so that I could remember that I have no reason to be here and that I'm not here, and nor are you. That we are not in a joyless place. We can share an instant of joy, and if you do that, you cannot remain here. You cannot. If we share an instant of joy for no reason, that's the crucial thing, for no reason, you can't stay here. Everyone's going, well, you must be joyful for a reason. Why are you joyful? You're joyful because it's going to be a nice day. Or what did you have for breakfast? But joy for no reason is the joy of being who you are. And if you discover the joy of being who you are, you can't be a human being. There is no such thing as a human being. And if you discover the joy of your own true nature in your relationship with God, you will understand that human beingness has got nothing to do with that. And it's just an idea that you maintained in your mind as a memory because you were intent on suffering, and that you enjoyed, your joy lay in misery previous to this moment. Isn't that right? If you're not wholly joyful, you're in a condition of misery, pain and death, which is what the world is. That's A Course in Miracles. And the miracle occurs because you're willing to take responsibility for that in your own mind. Aren't you? You're willing to take responsibility for it, not just a little bit, but in its entirety. This whole thing has arisen in your mind as a result of a tiny mad idea. It's a thought of judgment, it's a condemnation of yourself. It's an attack upon yourself, your brother, and God. And because you've denied yourself, this arose in your mind for you to see, to perceive, and to evolve a mechanism in which you can perceive it and associate with all the aspects of it, to become completely occupied with it and never to ask the question, what the fuck is it? Right? But you are asking the question, what the hell is it? But you can't find the answer because you don't want to find the answer. Right? All your mathematicians or cosmologists, astronomers, physicists, biologists, quantum mechanics, physicists, etc., they're all looking for the answer as long as they don't find it. Right? As soon as you find a new particle, you're off on another quest. Right? The truth is always outside of you. As long as the truth is outside of you, there's no end to the quest. Right? This is the quest for the Holy Grail. Right? It's an endless quest. You can't get there. You can't get there from here. You can't get there with the conceptual mind. You cannot get there with the belief that there's something outside of you objectively that you can discover separate from yourself. That you can find a meaning for the universe outside of you without including yourself in it. That's ridiculous, isn't it? That guarantees that you'll always be looking and never finding. And that's the maxim of the ego, isn't it? Seek but do not find. As long as it appears as I'm seeking, I'm satisfied. But I don't want to find, because if I find, then I will begin to realize the foundation of my identity will start to crumble. And then I'll have a devastating moment, and I'll go into some reenactment of the experience of St. Francis. And I'll start asking some very serious questions, some very fundamental questions, like, what the hell am I doing here? And what is anything for? What is this for? What is my purpose? So purpose. So once you've discovered your purpose, and that your purpose is healing, and that every individual human being shares that absolute need to learn the simple lessons of forgiveness and to escape from the lesson that they've taught themselves about themselves, then nothing's going to happen. But when that moment occurs, then you'll have a St. Francis, won't you? You'll have your own St. Francis, and you are in your own St. Francis. You're in a process. Now Assisi has become a Mecca, and we've got statues, and St. Francis has become an idol that we worship. Right, of course, everything becomes an establishment in the human mind, doesn't it? And it becomes a myth and a legend and a completely unreachable idea. But there are those guys who have followed in the way of Francis, and I've met some, and they're beautiful, actually. Monsignor Maximiliano, he was at the World Parliament of Religions in 2001, and he got up on the stage and he did the prayer of St. Francis, Lord, make me an instrument of my peace, and he was pure light, and he was genuine. That was an experience, and that was beautiful recognition. So it's not that it's not happening, but the important thing is that it happens where? In you, isn't it? So thanks for showing up. Are we okay? Yeah. Are we looking good? How do I look on tape? Does it look okay? Is it presentable? Can I put it on YouTube without being attacked? Impossible. You're going to be attacked no matter what. Because attack is what human perception is, isn't it? You're going to be judged and crucified. So why don't you enjoy it? Just learn to enjoy it. You can have fun with it, because if a mind has entered into an association with you, then you can offer an alternative. Right? You can offer an alternative conceptually or energetically. It's all forgiveness. If you've forgiven yourself, or you're in the process of accepting complete forgiveness for yourself, then you understand that you cannot be attacked. You become invulnerable to attack. The guy's going to yell and scream, and he's going to try and hit you or whatever it is. And you remain within the certainty of yourself that that's a call for help, that it's meaningless, that it's completely insane, that it's totally fearful, and that you can offer him the recognition that all his raging has absolutely no effect. And if it has no effect, it has no cause. And if it has no cause, it's been forgiven. Is that A Course in Miracles? That's A Course in Miracles. It has no cause, you've forgiven it, because it has no effect on you. And that's the lesson for today. So we'll get into that in a moment. But your job is to stand up before you're a human being and offer him the simple catechism of the reversal of his cause and effect association with himself and everything and everyone. Right? His willingness to find healing for his self-concept, for his identity of self. That's the only thing that needs to be healed, isn't it? The self-concept, because it's the self-concept that asserts the denial of your own reality. What lesson is that? 191. I've got to give it to you. 191. Deny your own reality, and you will not escape the consequences. What is it? A weird and ghostly image that mocks creation and that laughs at God. That's the result of denying your own identity. Is that right? That's every human being is in that denial, because they represent an idea within your mind that you have invested with power and belief and made it real, and it walks and it talks. for a little while, and it dies, and it's born, and it dies. And it's a story, isn't it? It's endlessly repeated and evolves, and time, linear time. Where does it go? Well, obviously we're going to get to Mars, and we'll go to the moon, and we'll spread our tentacles throughout the universe, and as we observe it, we'll convert it to an idea that we have about ourselves. Isn't that a great thing? Huh? You're observing now objects that are 13,000 million years old. Right? We keep discovering the oldest and oldest objects. The oldest object is a galaxy we've discovered that was formed only 750 million years after the Big Bang. Right? So what happens in the act of observing the universe? You look out into, it's an act of exchange of thought, isn't it? Right? I mean, I go back to Niels Bohr. He was quite a guy. He said, I understand that when you observe the photon, right, it becomes a particle and not a wave. It was a wave, you observed it or attempted to measure it, and it became a particle. He said, I'm not concerned about the particle, I'm concerned about the observer. How does that change the observer? That was his question. But as you look out into the universe, objectifying everything you look upon. So you're attempting to convert the universe to an idea you have about yourself. Isn't that an amazing thing when you look at it? Yeah. So you're hell-bent on including everything that you observe in with your idea of yourself. You cannot not. And you cannot escape that equation. Because who you think you are is what you think everything is. Right? That's the subjective nature of mind. You cannot see beyond yourself. Yeah. Right? Yet here stands one who says, no, I'm not what you think I am. And I'm not what you think you are. I have been changed. My mind has been changed wholly. I am very certain that there is no world. What's your next question? Your next question is, well, if there's no world, what am I doing here? And that's a good question. What are you doing here? And the answer God has given you is, you have a purpose. You have a purpose to be here, and that is to leave. Isn't it? If this is not your home, this is not what God established you, this is not your kingdom, then your purpose is to leave here and come home. Yes or no? Mm-hmm. Your purpose, and how are you going to do that? Forgiveness. Forgiveness is the means given to you by which your mind will change. You'll have the St. Francis, and you'll come into the joy of the self-recognition that you are as God created you. And that has never changed, regardless of your dream of suffering and drama of separation that you've played out in time. You become extraordinarily happy, and you become willing to accept the mission, impossible, of teaching A Course in Miracles to the world, to your brother.